Anything you want to say to the audience?
Forgive me. Life is a little bit more complicated than you think.
Is it for you?
For a teen, I think. For me, maybe not as much.
What made you decide to take on one specific role?
The script, usually. I mean, that's the easiest way to gauge how you connect with the substance, right? That you feel is real in the character you have to play.
So what made you decide to take on this role?
I've never been a cheating husband, so it's not about that side of the character. But I think what I found very interesting about Dr. Foster was the dynamics within the family itself. I've never had the chance to play a character who's of this age, who's a family man, has kids. On the surface level, you would assume this character is a bad person. But as you watch, I watched the original Dr. Foster's, right? You could see that all the characters, including the husband himself, were very complete and round, even to the point where you started to understand why the husband was doing what the husband was doing. Somehow he still needs to live his life.
Talking about the Dr. Foster you just watched, do you remember your first feeling when you just watched it? Any impression or dislike?
My initial impression before watching it was that I was thinking like, oh, a melodrama, it doesn't sound like something I'd be into.
It looks like one, right?
It looks like one, like broken family. It was so much more than that. Feel that sense of anticipation, that anxiety of you don't know what's going to happen next, right? Because you don't think like a family drama would be set in a way where it feels like a thriller.
What are your thoughts and views about this adaptation based on Thai social context, culture and norms?
This is a very simplistic way to say it, but like the whole Mia Noi type of thing is like part of Thai pop culture. The way it's going to be portrayed, I think is going to be quite new for the audience.
So is that what challenges you the most in taking on this role? I mean, similar things, but in a very different way.
Even before I was on board with this project, I'd spoken to Pian outside of this about like maybe one day we could work together. I just never expected it to be this project. When I heard she was attached to this, I was on board right away. Of course, I had to like play it coy and like, let me go read the script and like, let me go watch the original first. But in fact, it was like, I'm on, Pian. Yeah.
Is there any concern for the comparison people would have? Of course, there has to be some, maybe a lot.
I wasn't concerned about the comparisons. What I was concerned about was when I watched Dr. Foster, one of the main themes in Dr. Foster was the sexual relationship between the characters. And I remember very distinctly calling her up to ask her, like, are you sure you're okay with this? I mean, there's some very explicit interactions between these.
So เกมรักทรยศ or the betrayal, it's actually not for people in Thailand who are so ready to watch it, but like for people around the world. Let's just put it this way. I'm not going to ask any concern, but anything you want to say to the audience from different part of the world who's waiting for this project to come out?
I'd just like to share that excitement. I'm excited. Everybody who's involved with this project is very, very excited. And I think that's a good sign, It just shows that everybody's committed to making the best product that we can. Every culture is different. Thailand has its very own specific, unique culture. So I think aside from getting like the same entertaining series that you're familiar with, I think you'll also get to see something that comes from a Thai point of view, which could be quite fascinating for a foreign audience. I'm excited that if something like this can travel, it's good for Thai content in general. So we'll do our best and let's see how it goes.